Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Evan Geyer. Teachers could go their own way on state and relationship subjects, examples like competitive activities, creations, games, journaling, efficiency exercises, budgeting, chores, state pride, and student teachers. Today we've got Hawaii and Alaska. Let's not let them be forgotten. Hawaii, why everything? The case for monopolies. Woo! Some people get up there and say that monopolies are bad. However, I'm going to make the case for the monopolies because when there is a monopoly or when someone has everything, it becomes almost like a game. We've done it before. We've done it in SimCity. We've had one person in charge of basically everything, and those are in games. So turn the economy into a game and have one person in charge. And if they have monopolies, they can maximize profits. Higher prices with more wealth leads to more taxation revenue. So if there's a big monopoly, they're going to make more profits. That way, there's more taxes, and then the taxes from the government. The government can help the people or hold the businesses responsible um, by finding ways to make it so that the people who are left out have a way. So if you got a monopoly, say you own all of New York, um, you can charge sky high prices for someone to rent in New York. And when someone visits from another country, then they got to pay those rates, and those taxes then go to the citizens who then have to pay the sky high rates. Um, or even if they don't, then the problem is productivity loss. That's the main uh, dis- distraction away from a monopoly, is that productivity is lost because they don't have all the resources they need to accomplish what they would like to accomplish. Um, However, in a monopoly, those few people who can't afford it pay up, and the profits are higher. And if the profits are higher, the taxes are higher. So make more money from visitors with higher prices. A top strategist with everything can use synergies to maximize profits. So you got things working together. You don't have to have two accountants, three people doing the budget when there's a big merger and there's one company instead of 20 companies. Um, there's less to follow. There's You only need one employee instead of 20 employees. Maybe it's a little bit more work. However, they can get the job done because they're not competing. So, plus, if the person is better, like if you take the top SimCity game player or the top Monopoly Tycoon player, and you let them be in charge, they're going to do better than having the second, third, fourth, and fifth place people competing, making less money. Um, and if they're better, then again, more tax revenue because there's more wealth. Um, they just get taxed more. And then that tax revenue goes back to the people who basically, if there's nothing to do because there's a big monopoly, live for free. That's kind of how it goes. There's a big monopoly, just a few people work because it's so efficient. Then they find other things to do for work that basically can't be monopolized. A lot of that is um, it's for example for YouTube. It's one person can't monopolize all the information on YouTube. Like they all try. You got Amazon, Apple, Disney, Hulu, Netflix. They're all trying to be the monopolized YouTube. I've got all the information and nobody else has information. You got to go to me for the information or the entertainment. And it just um, because it can't be really monopolized. So there's a bunch of different places, but where you can monopolize, one person's in charge. Maybe they own it all, but then they would have to delegate. Oh yeah, you do this, and the problem is that the people with the information don't wouldn't get paid very much in a monopolistic society. Um, However, their taxes could be low. So overbuilding rather than underbuilding may lead to deflation. That's something that when you've got a lot of money and you're a property developer, sometimes you overdevelop, like in what's going on in China with the Communist Party. They're just building buildings and buildings and buildings, um, and nobody can afford to move in. However, there's space there for people if they would like to move in, and it kind of goes back to when the supply and demand. When there's too much supply, you can print more money, and that's another way the government can do it. You know, they can print more money and then get them into the locations. They could just say, "Hey, you got to live here. We're a monopoly," and then that person, has to do that. We don't like change, however, monopolies can force change as well. So that's kind of why everything. You can force change. You can increase the tax revenue. You can play it like a game, and you can get the best person possible managing a lot rather than having someone who's not qualified managing a fifth or a tenth or whatever like that. Alrighty, so the other thing I have to talk about today is Alaska. Whew. I have never been to Alaska. However, I've heard it's a good fish and wildlife, so it would be a good place to go to live life sustainably. I think the invention of the gun has certainly changed the way we hunt, where humans don't need to work together strategically in a group with sticks and spears to get dinner. They just got to go out um, and do it. The gun has made hunting so much easier. We don't have to work together to get that buffalo um, or meat, deer or elk. So, oil land to expand high productivity and high resources per capita, that's Alaska. Um, a lot of times you got to figure out things by yourself. We used to make soap on our own. Um, Now everything's commercialized. There's still a little bit of that in Alaska, from what I've heard, where you got to figure things out on your own. Um, Wildlife can flourish because there's not a lot of economic activity. There's not factories everywhere producing stuff. And it's a huge state, one fifth the size of the lower 48 states. So even if we've got some places like Anchorage occupied, there's other places to go. It's bigger than Texas, California, and Montana put together. Um, I've never actually been hunting. I've caught one fish in my life, and I did go to outdoor school. However, I've never actually been hunting. Another thing is, like in Alaska, you can get all dressed up for the weather. You don't need to be afraid of the cold. It's not colder than Mount Hood without a hood. Um, and Alaska, the last frontier. Like when people are dying, they're on their deathbed. I don't understand it. They don't live like they could. It's like, give me milkshake after milkshake after milkshake. Give me, just a joke about it, give me the vibrator. I'm a guy, but like, give me, my friends and family here. If they can't, then there's got to be, um, chocolate, do something, play a game, get, do something different, um, to enjoy life when you're in your last days. Um, I see too often just people dying in a hospital, like they're not with their significant other. They're not. like having the best food. It's hospital food, um, and they're not like sometimes they just get boring. Like there's nothing to talk about. So watch my YouTube short movies. It makes English more difficult, a different way to follow it. Um, Play some games, you know, um, things like that. So anyway, quality of life today is money and kids. I work at Amazon. Amazon's a great place to shop. So go to the grocery store. You probably have some items you regularly buy. Write down the price. Have your kid write down the price, and so the kid knows how much you're spending on food, how much you're spending on uh, items that you might have in the house, like a helmet or like a CD or a book, and show the kid how much that stuff is. However, don't buy it, and then challenge the kid. Challenge him to say, can you find a lower price? And then I'll buy it. Let the family save money by the kids doing work to find a cheaper price somewhere else. Because we just go into the grocery store and buy things. Why not allow the kid to make some money and learn about shopping and consumption and all that by actually doing the work themselves? They can go if they can go to the store and walk if they got extra time on the weekend. They can shop on the internet. There's all sorts of things that they can do. They can look for sales and substitutions. Like maybe Fruity Pebbles isn't in stock. However, the big bag of Fruity Pebbles or whatever dynamites, whatever they call them, is in stock. And just challenge the kid to save your money and make it a little competition. And then maybe the kid gets some of the money, like for some sort of deal that you make, like a allowance. All right, so yeah, that's quality of life. Search for the lowest price. And I know the adults don't always have time to do it, so delegate that to the kids who might just be laying around or might not have any time or might have time on their hands to do something like that and make an extra dollar, save the family some money. All right, that's Hawaii, why everything, Alaska, the last frontier in quality of life. I will talk to you later and see you.